Hello everyone and welcome to part 4 of the Colt starting series starring Chance. This video we are going to take rein pressure and steering to the next level with ground driving. If you missed parts 1 through 3, be sure to check those out, as I have broken this series down into comprehensive steps that make it easy for both horse and rider to understand and build upon sequentially. I thought you guys might enjoy a grooming and tacking up montage to give you an idea of how far this guy has progressed in his basic training and tolerance. He responds well when I ask him to shift his weight to different legs, and this is so important to get him to trust me picking up his feet, because he knows ahead of time what foot I want and also that I won't throw him off balance. These cues will also transfer to under saddle work. I'm sure you've noticed he's getting progressively fuzzier as we near winter time. He will look like an orange polar bear pretty soon here. So we already made some videos explaining how we introduce the saddle to Chance, so unfortunately I'm not going to get an authentic first saddling reaction out of him here. He's already friends with the saddle and is not worried about it moving around, cinching, stirrups flapping around, or anything like that. Last thing you want when you are teaching something new is to skip a step and cause your horse to become fearful, because they may associate unrelated fear with the new concept. So make sure your horse is completely bored and uninterested in that saddle before moving past this point, or just use a surcingle to thread the reins through instead of the saddle. I hope to gear carabiner clips to both front D-rings on the saddle, where you would secure a breast collar, and threaded the reins through there so that they are approximately where a rider would hold them. Some people run them through the stirrups and tie the stirrups together under the belly. That's fine too, as it allows the reins to release more freely. A smaller hole like the carabiner will feel more like a hand, maintaining light contact, but it is more difficult to give lots of rein this way. Whichever way you do this, the point is simply to teach what direct rein pressure means. So you want to shorten the inside rein while simultaneously releasing the outside rein. I start out in more of a lunging position with Chance circling around me. He understands fully what this means and can follow my body language if he gets confused by the reins. If I were to start by walking behind him in a driving position, he would have a harder time understanding and may try to turn and face me instead of moving forward. I have direct contact with the inside rein, and the outside rein is sitting loosely draped over the saddle. I'm asking him to bend into a smaller circle here, while simultaneously asking for a hindquarter yield with my body language. This will help him to start making a mental connection between his hind end and the reins, and also start solidifying our one rein stop. When I ask him to move out again, he's not getting any additional cues from me on what direction to go, so I shorten the right rein and apply pressure until he turns into it, then immediately release. There he bent down to eat a leaf, which is great because I know he's not stressed by this exercise, and that he's actually starting to become bored. An eating horse is a relaxed horse. They can't chew when they are in flight mode. I'm very happy with how easily he starts moving again, as forward momentum is something this horse struggles with. Now I don't have a lunge whip, as we already built a foundation for forward momentum. Now we're going to mix things up and ask for a direction change. He gets confused and just yields away from me, ignoring the pressure on the left rein. The saddle starts moving around, and he gets a little frustrated. But I want to maintain the pressure until the moment he turns to the left. I give very small releases when he's thinking about going left, but don't let up completely until he finds the right answer. Now I swap the other rein over the saddle and shorten the inside rein to ask for a bend. Once he understands what's going on, lunging both directions, I move to the driving position behind him. I leave enough room between us that he can see me, and I'm not in any danger if he were to kick. Thankfully, I trust him not to, but a horse that is not familiar with ropes touching their back legs or people standing behind them may kick out. Prepare your horse to avoid accidents. Driving from behind will make it much easier for him to understand those tricky direction changes, and he will have to rely on rein pressure instead of my body language. I'm able to move him forward off of just my voice, a walk-on or cluck, and he is 100% focused on me here. His ears are pointed back towards me, which is a good way to know I have his attention. Remember that horses move their ears in the direction of what they are looking at, so this does not mean he's annoyed, angry, or pinning his ears. Now I ask for him to turn to the left. He hesitates, but ultimately this goes much smoother than before, and he's starting to understand the rules of the game. Again, I shorten the inside rein and ask for him to bend. This is easy because he will follow the outside of the pin and anticipate the circle. Now, we definitely don't want a horse that just follows the fence and doesn't listen to or wait for the reins to guide him, so it's important to start changing directions often to prevent him from anticipating. Here I apply pressure to the right rein before he reaches the corner to turn left. He turns against the pressure to follow the circle, but finds himself restricted as I continue to ask for an outside turn. He fights it at first, but remembers how to find the release and turns completely around. I almost immediately ask for another direction change to get him turned back to the left, so he doesn't have a chance to anticipate the circle yet. He gets it right much quicker now, but needs lots more practice. Another thing I will do is shorten the inside rein more to ask for a tighter circle, then straighten him out. The rapidly changing cues and various pressure makes it very important in his mind to pay attention. Here I'm asking him to go right, but he anticipated left because I had to shorten the left rein to straighten him. I want him to understand that once he catches up to the release, he does not need to turn farther. I want to encourage him to go straight until asked otherwise, and I correct this by alternating pressure, left or right, to counter the direction he's leaning. This is sloppy at first because we have previously emphasized circles, but once we get into a larger area, keeping straight will be much easier for him to understand. He's doing great following the inside rein around and getting lots of practice with an easier task to keep him motivated. I'm going to once again give the inside rein and shorten the outside rein to ask for a right turn before he anticipates turning to the left. There, he figures it out and waits for me to direct him farther. Very good. He's following the reins instead of the fence. Now for a halt. I even both reins to straighten him out and apply light pressure to both to flex his head down. When I stop and he continues forward, he will feel the increase in pressure and stop. I ultimately do not want to have to pull him to a stop, so I will just lift both reins, say whoa, stop, and allow him to run into the pressure if he does not stop. When under saddle, I will also add a seat cue before pulling on the reins, so with enough practice he will stop without needing to be tugged on. Direct rein pressure is merely a stepping stone, which will ultimately get us to the point where we will not need it, much like the lunge whip was a stepping stone to forward momentum. Here I ask for another whoa and maintain steady, not increasing, pressure, which he walks into. I release the moment he stops and loosen the reins. He goes to take a step forward, which I correct by asking for a whoa. You want to immediately nip this in the bud, or your horse will think he's a rocket ship whenever you don't have contact on the reins. I don't like how heavy he is on the forehand here, as it shows me he's still ready to move forward. So I want to encourage him to shift his weight back to his hind, just as we practice every time I pick up his feet. I'm going to use rhythmic pressure while pulling back until he takes one step backwards. The licking and chewing tells me that he struggled with this one, so I will remember to clarify it for him next session. I know this process seems slow moving, but if you stuck with us so far, you'll be happy to learn that we are getting to the more exciting bits of Chance's training. I wanted to end this session with a sneak peek into the mounting process. This is probably the most difficult lesson for the horse, as it is very easy to send them over threshold. For that reason, I frequently stand next to and over my horses on the mounting block, on the fence, bucket, cinder blocks, really whatever I leave around them. The more normal this seems to the horse, the easier it will be for them to feel comfortable at the mounting block. Chance is ready by now to feel weight in the stirrups and in the saddle, but I will detail the steps we took to get here in the next video. Watch closely to see if you can spot the moments he briefly went over threshold into flight mode, and also the moments he came back out of it. Well, that's all for now. I hope you are all as excited as I am to see Chance progress, and I hope you're even half as proud of our boy. Thanks for stopping by, liking, and subscribing. It means a lot to us, and I love reading your comments. Everyone, have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video.